Claim to be a biblical scholar or even a prophet. I am Evangelist Stephen Watson, and this is 2 by 2. I do believe the signs are real that point to the soon coming of the Lord. So join us as we study the Word of God and examine the day and time we live in and how it is as it was in the days of Noah. Welcome, welcome. It's good to be once again with you on 2 by 2. We just excited tonight. We're live. It's Monday, the 29th of May.
Yep.
And it's
Memorial Day.
Yes, Memorial Day. And we have a wonderful program tonight in regards to Memorial Day. And if you are listening to this anytime other on May 29th, you're listening to a recording.
Rebroadcast.
Yes, rebroadcast. Praise the Lord. But we've had a wonderful day. I have my wife here with me today, and I'm excited about her being here. You say something, Elaine?
Hi, everybody. We're happy to be here and blessed to be here.
Yes. And then we got Pastor Henry Schaefer of the University Parkway Church of God.
Driving tonight.
He's driving tonight.
Driving tonight.
And
Glad to see everybody.
And he does not have sunglasses
No,
on.
it's not today.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
We're really excited about today. It's a solemn day because we respect those who have given their lives in behalf of this country. We watched the president today speak on on television nationally to the nation, and watched the ceremonies in Washington. And no matter how many times you may watch the wreath being put at the tomb of the unknown soldier, or the gravestones at Arlington are walked among, and the flags that have been laid there in the ground next to each tomb or each tombstone, it just really magnifies how much this nation has given to be able to have liberty and justice for all. And you know, I'm proud to be an American.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm very proud to be American, and I'm proud to know that I am a veteran. I personally was in the Air Force for 3.5 years, and I received an honorable discharge. I got out, could not find a job, went back into the Army, and so I did 4 more years in the Army, and I got an honorable discharge from them. So I have been in 2 branches of the service. Like many people, I thought it was a rarity, but it was a common thing in my generation.
Yeah.
But we have many veterans that are out there. We had a wonderful memorial message Sunday morning, University Parkway Church of God. Pastor Schaefer, you really preached a wonderful message. You preached about people that have become weak and lethargic in combat. And tell them what you preached on.
I preached about overcoming battle fatigue.
That's it.
And how that we use first the natural, then the spiritual. The natural is that when people are out in battle, you know, in the armed services, they're out on the front lines fighting.
Right.
Many of them suffer a thing called battle fatigue.
Yes.
So they know that they have to let them go out and rest. You know, it's the R&R. And we took that same natural type. And I believe there were a lot of people in World War I, World War II lost their life because they did not recognize, the people didn't recognize that those people were suffering battle fatigue.
Yes.
And they had just given up fighting.
Yes, they have.
You know, and they just throw their life right out in front of the enemy just to take their life, because it was easier just to go ahead and die than it was just to press on.
Yes.
And took that into the spiritual realm as well, as that's what a lot of Christians are battling today. They're battling battle fatigue. But God has given us a way to overcome it. The rest and recuperation is the rest and refreshing of the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And, you know, so we took that and used that as an analogy on Memorial Day.
And it's kind of funny, too, because last night I stayed up late and I watched the old 12 O'Clock High movie.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it was about Gregory Peck. He was a general, and he'd taken command of a bomber squadron during World War II, and he was trying to revigorate their inspiration, to try to, they had suffered so many losses that they had become battle fatigued. And so,
Oh, really?
yes, seriously. And so when he got there, he wanted to ignite their, not just their enthusiasm, but their the reality of why they were there. And the movie was just terrific. I recommend it to anybody. It's a good, clean movie. There's no filthy talk, but the movie really shows you how men lay it on the line and confront the evil of the world. And many a time they give up their lives. They was talking about the Bombardiers and all them. You know, each plane carried 5 men, according to the movie. And if you lost a plane, you lost 5 men. So if you lost 3 planes, you lost 15 men. And but his goal in the movie was to see if 21 planes went out, 21 planes came back.
Right.
That was his goal in the movie. That was his vision.
Good.
And so I watched that, and it really inspired me to think about doing a program tonight in realization to those who do not come back. And so tonight we're going to be talking about the Society of the Honor Guard, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Oh, I like that.
And we're going to be, hopefully, I would like somebody to call in tonight if you're a veteran, especially if you're a veteran tonight. The number is 803-335-3131. And if you would like to just say, hey, my name is so-and-so. You don't even have to give your name. Just say, look, I served in Vietnam, or I served in Iraq or Afghanistan. I'd just like to say that I'm proud to be an American. You have the opportunity to do that tonight, 803-335-3131. But before we get started, I'd like to play a video song. If you're listening and you're on the road, you won't have to worry about the pictures. But if you're at home, you want to watch, you can just go to YouTube and just put in WCC Studio, scroll down, and click on subscription. You can watch the program live, or you can go to cwchrist.com and you can watch anywhere in the world on a laptop. But we're going to do a song here. The name of the song is Arlington, and it's done by Trace Atkins. And I just thought it was a beautiful song, reflective of what we're talking about tonight. So we're going to go ahead and play that, and just sit back and enjoy the program tonight.
I never thought that this is where I'd settle down. I thought I'd die an old man back in my hometown. They gave me this plot of land, me and some other men, for a job well done. There's a big white house, sits on a hill just up the road. The man inside, he cried the day they brought me home. They folded up a flag and told my mom and dad, we're proud of your son. And I'm proud to be on this peaceful piece of property. I'm on sacred ground and I'm in the best of company. I'm thankful for those, thankful for the things I've done. I can rest in peace, I'm one of the chosen ones. I made it to Arlington. I remember Daddy brought me here when I was 8. We searched all day to find out where my granddad lay. And when we finally found that cross, he said, son, this is what it costs to keep us free. Now here I am 1,000 stones away from him. He recognized me on the first day I came in, and it gave me a chill when he clicked his heels and saluted me. And I'm proud to be on this peaceful piece of property. I'm on sacred ground and I'm in the best of company. And I'm thankful for the things I've done. I can rest in peace, I'm one of the chosen ones. I made it to Arlington. And every time I hear 21 guns, I know they brought another hero home to us. Thankful for the things we've done. We can rest in peace, 'cause we are the chosen ones. We made it to Arlington. Yeah, dust to dust, don't cry for us. We made it to Arlington.
That was Trace Adkins, Arlington. That's just got to be a wonderful, most wonderful tribute. Those who lay in rest there at Arlington. I've never been to Arlington to see the graves there. I haven't had that privilege. But I will tell you that I'm in awe when I see the pictures and I see the president there and I see other people. And I think the thing that really sticks out to me is these young people who have lost their daddies and they've lost their mothers and sons and daughters and all of them giving the ultimate price. There is a difference in what we do in Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day, we give honor to those who have died.
Yes.
On Veterans Day, we recognize all the veterans then in November. But right now, today, we're recognizing those who gave the ultimate prize. And I don't believe anybody has not been touched by war in the United States. There's been too many young men and women who have died and given that ultimate sacrifice, that everybody has a family member who has went that direction or has been touched by somebody in that direction. I know many men that served in Vietnam. I know several that lost brothers there. I knew one case in Alabama where there was two brothers that actually were in Vietnam at the same time in two different areas, but they were both in combat. And the only reason they were allowed to actually both be in Vietnam is because they had like 2 or 3 more brothers. And so they had went there, and I think one came back, one didn't. And I met that gentleman in a church one day, and he gave his testimony. But there's been many people that have lost their entire family. If you know some of the stories, if you go back and you read some of the history about World War II, there were different rules back then, and they had so many brothers that were on one ship. They all went down on the same ship and died, and so a mother lost all her sons in one act or event. And so Congress initiated rules to keep siblings from being in the same hostile environment at the same time, to try to protect a mother's children as best as they could. Yeah. But tonight, as we talk about the Honor Guard Society, and we talk about the veterans, I want to just give that number again, 803-335-3131. The Tomb of the Unknowns is a monument dedicated to Americans, service members who have died without their remains being identified. And according from what I was able to pick up and read and really get into it today, it has also been called the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, but never officially was it given that name. But it is located near Arlington Cemetery in Virginia. And on that tomb, it says, "Here rest in honor, glory, an American soldier known but to God. All unknowns are recipients of the Medal of Honor." And on March 4th, 1921, U.S. Congress approved the burial of unidentified servicemen from World War I in the plaza of the new Memorial Amphitheater. And on November 11th, 1921, an unidentified soldier was brought back from France, was interred in a 3-level marble tomb. There's been much done in that area of Washington since then. They've been able to expand and beautify the grounds, and also the area for tourists. But one of the things that really is remarkable is when you watch these soldiers, Pastor, and they are on this post. There are such disciplined men, such disciplined sentinels that they're so driven to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed in what they do. And so I was looking at some of the frequently asked questions. One of the questions is, how does the guard rotation work? Is it an 8-hour shift? And they say currently the tomb guards work on a 3-relief team rotation. 24 hours on, 24 hours off, 24 hours on, 24 hours off, 24 hours on, 96 hours off. However, over the years it has been different. The time off isn't exactly free time. It takes the average sentinel 8 hours to prep their uniform for the next workday, and they additionally have physical training, tomb guard training, and haircuts to complete before the next workday. So these guys just don't wait till 2 or 3 weeks to go get a haircut. It's a consistent part of their prep work. And then one of the other questions was, how many steps does the sentinel take during their walk by the tomb of the unknown, and why? And I found that at 21 steps, and alludes to the 21 gun salute, which is the highest honor given any military or foreign dignitary. And when I was looking at that, I got really curious about it. And it was talking about how they do their movements. The sentinel does not execute an about face. Rather, they stop on the 21st step, and then they turn and face the tomb for 21 seconds. They then turn to face back down the mat, change the weapon to the outside shoulder. Mentally, they count off 21 seconds and then step off for another 21 steps, walk down the mat. They face the tomb at each end of the 21-step walk for 21 seconds. The sentinel then repeats this over and over until the guard change ceremony begins. And I just thought, you really have...
They're doing it right now.
Yeah, they're doing it right now.
They do it when you're asleep.
And whether it's...
They do it tomorrow.
Whether it's storming, raining.
They doing it.
They do it if it's ice and snow. They do it if it's lightning out there. There is nothing that stops the guard from being steadfast in his duty.
And this is all volunteer.
Yes. And when they do this, I was trying to find out, Pastor, I didn't find it, how long their duration of commitment is. I'm believing it's 18 months or 2 years. But some of the other unique things, too, where the gloves are moistened to improve the grip on the rifle. And then right here it says the guard is changed every 30 minutes during the summer, April 1st to September 30th, and every hour during the winter, October 1st to March 31st. During the hours the cemetery is closed, the guard is changed every 2 hours. The tomb is guarded and has been guarded every minute of every day since 1937. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Imagine. There are some false rumors. There was a rumor that said that a sentinel must commit for 2 years live in a barracks under the tomb and cannot drink alcohol on or off duty for the rest of their lives. This is a false rumor. The average tour of the tomb is about 18 months. However, there is no set time for service there. Sentinels live either in the barracks or Fort Myer, the Army post located adjacent to the cemetery, or off base if they like. They do have a living quarters under the steps of the amphitheater where they stay during their 24-hour shift. If they are of legal age, they may drink and accept while on duty. I thought that was strange. They are very strict about the rules. Very strict about the rules. And is it true that they cannot swear in public for the rest of their lives? It is true. After 2 years, the guard is given a reef pin that is worn on their lapel, signifying they served as guard of the tomb, that there are only 600 presently worn, and that the guard must obey these rules for the rest of their lives or give up the reef pin.
Yeah, they said about that pin is that it's the least given medal next to the astronaut medal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't have that many astronauts.
That's right.
So they get a medal, a pin, and they don't have that many guards that guard the tomb. So that's the second least given. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To get one of those, it's kind of rare is what I'm saying. To get one of them pins is pretty rare. If you're an astronaut, and you got a rare pin.
Yeah.
If you're an honor guard, you got a rare pin.
Yeah, I just imagine that I know a lot of Marines, and they're very, very strong backbone men who have codes of honor, and they will not. I don't care what they go through life. They will not break the code of a Marine brother.
Right.
I mean, that's how serious they are about. They earned the right to be called a Marine, and I honor all the services out there tonight. I want you to know, whether you were in the National Guard, whether you were if you've been in the Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, whether you've been in the Coast Guard, whatever you have done in service to this country, we honor that today.
You for that.
And we salute you for that. But tonight we're talking about those who gave all. And we're going to do a second song right here. And this is called 50,000 Names on the Wall. And it's done by George Jones. And I hope y'all listen to this and listen to the words of this song as it is going to be played tonight.
There's teddy bears and high school rings and old photographs that mamas bring, the daddies with their young boys playing ball. There's combat boots that he used to wear when he was sent over there. There's 50,000 names carved in the wall. There's cigarettes and there's cans of beer, notes that say I miss you, dear, and children who don't say anything at all. There's Purple Hearts and packs of gum, fatherless daughters and fatherless sons, and there's 50,000 names carved in the wall. They come from all across this land in pickup trucks and minivans, searching for a boy from long ago. They They scan the wall and find his name. The teardrops fall like pouring rain. Then silently they leave a gift and go. They're stars of David and rosary beads and crucifixion figurines and flowers of all colors, large and small. There's a Boy Scout badge and a merit pin, little American flags waving in the wind, and there's 50,000 names carved in the wall. There's 50,000 names carved in the wall.
That song, George Jones, 50,000 Names Carved in the Wall, has always touched me, and I've always amazed me with the children that you see putting their hand on the wall. Many of those children never ever saw their daddy. Many of them were born, and while their daddies were overseas in conflicts. And during those conflicts, all these children have are the stories that were told about their father. And it amazes me how there's still that contact, there's still that DNA, there's still that something in them that tells them that's part of who I am.
Right.
And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that person. And they're so touched by the name of their family member carved in the wall that they want to touch that name. And then when it talks about people putting things in the wall or next to the wall, some people wouldn't understand. It talks about there's packs of cigarettes and there's cans of beer. There's packs of gum. There's flowers. There's flags. There's pins, Boy Scout pins. All that reflects somebody leaving something at that tomb because they had to be able to connect. Now, some people out there, they wouldn't understand. But a
veteran would.
A veteran would understand that.
Yeah.
Leaving something at the wall. It's just symbolic.
It's probably something they shared as a common when they were.
Something they shared. But the beauty of this that comes to me is that these men's legacy has not just disappeared. Their names on the wall, and they are many are buried in Arlington or in homesteads across the country. Some under in just small little cemeteries. I'm sure all across South Carolina there's many men and women who have given their life in the service of this country, and they're buried in little country towns and across these cities and such. And God bless their families for what they've went through. But I think what I'm reflecting on tonight is that ultimate gift that they gave to their country was their life so that others can have liberty and freedom. And when I watched the old war newsreels of D-Day, Omaha Beach, and the different places where soldiers, you could see the mud on their face and the thickness of the dirt, and no shower. Maybe they hadn't bathed in weeks or days, and they've been under constant gunfire, but they had that perseverance and that backbone to not give up in the battle. And tonight, if you're a veteran out there and you'd like to call in 803-335-3776, 3131. We'd love to hear from you. Another thing I wanted to talk about at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Pastor, is that the shoes are standard issue military dress shoes.
Okay.
I thought they may be something different. Excuse me. They are built up so the sole and heel are equal in height. So all the soldiers stand at the same height. This allows the sentinel to stand with a straight back and perpendicular to the ground. A side effect of this is that sentinel can roll on the outside of the build up walking down the mat. In other words, he can press most of his weight on that thickness that has been added to the shoe. And if he does this correctly, the hat and bayonet will appear to not bob up and down with each step. It gives a more formal, fluid, and smooth look to the walk rather than a marching appearance. And the soles have a steel tip on the toe and a horseshoe steel plate on the heel, and this prevents wear on the sole and allows the sentinel to move during his movements when he turns to face the tomb and then back down to the mat. And there is the clicker. Many of y'all have probably heard or watched during the news footage on any of the news channels when they show this. There is a clicking sound, and it is a shank of steel attached to the inside of the face of the heel where it's built up in each shoe, and it allows the sentinel to click his heels during certain movements. And a guard change is considered great when all the heels click fall together in sound as one click. So that must take some extreme practice. The guard change is occasionally done in the silent mode as a sign of devotion to the unknowns with no voice commands. Everything is done in relation to the heel clicks and on a specific count. And I just, I think it's so beautiful that when we see these men and women who are inspired to take this position of guarding the tomb, they do it with such conviction and such a desire to commit to that formation every day. You talked about formation, coming to formation. When these people come to formation, their mind is where it needs to be to do what they have been called to do. And that relates to us as Christians too. One of the things that I was really curious about, if you watch the tomb, next to the tomb, there is a little green shack. And I wondered what that was. And the box, as it is affectionately known, is used primarily during wreath-laying ceremonies for the sentinel to retreat to while flowers and taps are being presented. That's where he goes and stands when the president maybe is preparing to put flowers at the tomb. There also is a phone with a direct line downstairs to the tomb guard headquarters. This is used in times of emergencies or just to notify the next shift of something important. The weapons that they carry are unloaded. But one of the questions I had was, has anybody ever tried to deface the tomb while they were on guard? And there has been. It says, yes, that is the reason why we now guard the tomb. Back in the early 1920s, we didn't have guards, and the tomb looked much different. It was flat as ground level without the 70-ton marble cap. People often came to the cemetery in those days, and a few actually used the tomb as a picnic area, likely because of the view. Soon after, in 1925, they posted a civilian guard. In 1926, a U.S. Army soldier was posted during cemetery hours. And in 1937, guard duty was expanded to 24 hours. And then since then, the ceremony has evolved throughout the years as to what you see in it today. There has been one, if I understand right, there's been one time where somebody was put in the tomb, but they were taken out eventually. And that was because of the increase in our ability with DNA. They were able to identify a Vietnam soldier, a soldier who had went to Vietnam. DNA finally revealed who he was. So he was exhumed and he was reburied. But I believe that's the only one. But they said because of the increase in science now and DNA is helping to identify, there has been more. But it says the remains of the Vietnam unknown soldier was exhumed May 14th, 1998, based on his DNA testing. DOD scientists identified the remains as those of Air Force First Lieutenant Michael Joseph Blasey, who was shot down near An Loc, Vietnam in 72. It has been decided that the crypt that contained the remains of the Vietnam unknown will remain vacant. In other words, they never refilled that spot in the tomb. So that's another part of history that I hope will help you understand. I think we're gonna do a song. It's real. Goes back. Some of you, I don't know how old you are. You might think about how old you are tonight, but you're going to hear a song back. The Ballad of the Green Berets. I hope you'll enjoy this.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Trained to live off nature's land, trained in combat hand to hand, men who fight by night and day, courage take from the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Back at home, a young wife waits. Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has died for those oppressed, leaving her this last request. Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day. Have him win the Green Beret.
Yes, that's an old song back. I'm not sure. I'm thinking 1969, 1970. But it also ended up being the song that was on John Wayne's movie, The Green Berets. But the reason I played that is because there's a lot of veterans out there that relate to that. And I wanted to play that. And like I said earlier, if you want to call in, that's 803-335-3131.
Can I share something about
Yes,
the Green
go ahead.
Berets?
Yes, Pastor.
Because, I'm going to share something I learned because I didn't know. So I looked it up today. And, we hear a lot about the Navy SEALs, the SEAL
Yes.
teams. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of that don't understand the difference between the Green Berets, the SEALs, and the Rangers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got these 3 different elite groups. So just let me just
Go
share
ahead.
with about
Go
this here
ahead.
about
I'm
the Green
interested.
Berets. Well, the Green Berets are the United States Army Special Forces, where the SEALs are the Navies.
Oh, okay.
So you have the 2 different groups that are there. And then when you look at, remember here in the song, it talks about a silver wings upon their chest. Mm-hmm. Is that was given? They used to give silver wings and gold wings. Gold wings was for the officers, and then the enlisted men got the silver wings. And after a few years, they changed it. So there's only gold wings. There
Oh,
are no
okay.
silver wings. There are only gold wings now. So I'm just sharing with you some
I
things.
think that's wonderful.
Yeah, so they don't distinguish between rank when they do that. But it's pretty good information about the different groups that they have. The motto of the Green Berets is to liberate the oppressed. The Navy SEALs, the only easy day was yesterday. It pays to be a winner is what their motto is. And when you look at the part of the United States Army, United States Special Operations, and the Navy, of course, the nickname Green Berets. The nickname of the Green Berets, you'll hear names like this: the Quiet Professionals, Soldier Diplomats, Snake Eaters. The Navy SEALs, you may hear them called Frogmen, the Teams, or Green Faces, or SEALs, just like that. Anyway, it's pretty interesting information when you look at the two different groups that they have. And then, of course, the Rangers. They talk about the three different groups of the Rangers. And then most people move from the Rangers, then they will move into becoming a Green Beret or something like that.
Now, the Rangers, do they not have a now they all parachute, don't they?
Yep.
They all have parachute capability. And I was talking with a veteran at VA one time, and he was in there for whatever he was there for that day, but we were talking, and he had been a member of high altitude parachute jumpers. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just not parachute material.
No.
But there's men and women who have parachuted at such high altitudes so that they could covertly go into an area strategically and not be detected. Now, I'm going to just tell you, just getting in that gear would make me nervous, but to have to jump out and safely land and then exercise whatever type of mission, you would have to have the agility, the strength, the oxygen in your lungs, the flexibility, and it takes a commitment of just unbelievable physical agility, but mental agility to accomplish those things. One of the things I wanted to talk about in that. Go ahead. Pastor.
I'm going to just give this brief thing about the duties. The duties of the Green Beret. Here we go. We got someone
calling in.
Okay, caller, you live and on the air. Got a comment? Got a question?
Got a comment. Good evening, Pastor Schaefer.
Good evening, Sandy. How you doing?
Hello.
Shirley.
Hi.
I am listening to the show. I tried not to call, but the pride that I have in my father will not let me pass. My father was a veteran. He was in the Navy. His brother was in the Navy. They were on a battleship together. And Douglas Watson, I'm sure you know about this, something called the Sullivan Brothers.
Yes.
Five brothers that were on a battleship, and they all got killed. So the Navy made it a rule that no brothers, the last males of any family, could be on the same ship together. So they separated my father and his brother, and my father came out of the war after serving in the Navy quite a while. I have a picture of him taking the oath, I think 2 hours after the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor. And his brother was on a destroyer, and that destroyer disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, and they were never found, not the ship or any of the crew members. But Memorial Day is a very special day to me, too. And my father did instill in me his love of this country and his patriotism. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm enjoying the show very much, especially about all the criteria and the regimen and strictness they have regarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. Thank you very much.
All right.
We
Thank you, Sister
appreciate
Sandy.
it. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to call in tonight, 803-335-3131. Go
right.
ahead, Pastor.
Okay,
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, so here's what it says here. It talked about the duties of the Green Beret, because there's a difference between the duty. You didn't hear about the SEALs.
Yeah.
Very little about this. So let's pick this up. The United States Army Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets, because of their distinctive service headgear, are a special operations force tasked with 6 primary missions: unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, special reconnaissance, direct action, hostage rescue, counterterrorism, and the first 2 emphasize language, cultural, and training skills in working with foreign troops. Their official motto is to liberate the oppressed, a reference to one of their primary missions, training and advising foreign indigenous forces. You go, caller, you're live and on the air. Got a comment, got a question?
Hey, Pastor Schaefer. Hey, Steve and Elaine. This is Amanda from church.
Hi, Amanda.
Hey, Elaine. Steve, I want to ask you something. I haven't been able to listen to the entire show because I'm at work. Have you ever been to the wall? Because I've spoken to Vietnam veterans before, and I've even read this online that a lot of times they'll go, but they can't even make it out of the parking lot to even walk past the wall. I mean, I've never served, and I've walked past that wall twice, and it feels like you have 58,000 men. Just, I can't describe it. Have you ever been to the wall?
No, I haven't had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. In my life yet. I want to go, and I hope one day to be able to go and see the wall and Arlington Cemetery and some of the other things. But I have heard of veterans who have went, and then before they got to the wall, they couldn't go any further. So I believe there is a reality to that, and I believe that comes from a lot of your men who have post-traumatic stress syndrome, who cannot deal with what they had to face. Some of them reliving. Many lost a lot of brothers. There's a brotherhood in the military, and that's whether you're a woman in military or a man in military. There is a brotherhood and sisterhood in the military that is profoundly incredible, because you bond to these people, and they literally are like your own family, your own DNA.
Well, the other thing I wanted to share with you, and one of the moving things I've seen on YouTube, my mother's first cousin's husband died in Vietnam. His name is on the wall, and I've been looking up stuff. And this is what blows my mind. I think we all know there's another version of the wall that travels over the U.S. so people can go look at it if they can't go to Washington. But there's a couple of videos where hundreds of motorcyclists, I think they call the Patriot Guard riders, they will escort this wall. I mean, it's on the special carrier. I mean, and the police will block intersections. And there's this one video, and it just gave me the goosebumps, because all these cars are pulled off on the side of the road. They know it's coming.
Yes.
But the other thing I want to let you know, with you being a Vietnam veteran, and I really appreciate your service. I was thinking about you earlier today, and I thought to myself, you better be speaking tonight. But my father, he hunts. He works at SRS. He didn't serve. He didn't get drafted. He had, up until recently, he still carried his draft card, but he takes part in something called Wheeling Sportsmen, and they tend to take gentlemen or even ladies who are disabled, like either turkey or deer hunting. And there's a gentleman he takes every now and then, and this man served 2 tours in Vietnam, but he took him not too long ago, and they were out in the forest, and of course my dad helped him to shoot like a turkey, since I believe it's still turkey season. But man, my dad started complaining about ants or something, and this man said, "Oh yeah, you better be, these aren't nothing compared to the ants in Vietnam." He said there's something called stripper ants, and he said they were so big. He said if you got one up in your hands, you had to just disrobe. But I just want to let you know I know we know about Wounded Warrior, but that's something that goes on around here. But
well, I appreciate. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I want to say, Pastor Schaefer, I appreciate your brother Lee's service. Is Lee the only sibling that got drafted, or did any of the other siblings serve? Or
You. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had 2 brothers that served.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, y'all have a good night.
Okay.
Good
God
night.
bless you. I just to make one clear point. I was in during the Vietnam campaign. I went in the military in '73, and Vietnam didn't come to a close until I believe it was April of '75. I did not go to Vietnam. I never got on Vietnam soil. I was actually sent to a support unit on the end of the Aleutian chain that was a place called Shemya, and we were there to intercept and support C-5A aircraft and C-141 aircraft that was going back and forth to that particular part of the world, and so we were a support mission on the island of Shemya, and so I never got to actually touch foot in Vietnam or on Vietnam soil, but many of the men that were medevac back, I did meet a lot of them coming back, because they would, if they were coming by the way they were flying, and they were, let's say they were going to Anchorage, Alaska, where Elmendorf Air Force Base was, they would land many a times at Shemya, which was, halfway across the ocean. And so I got to meet a lot of people at that time in my era, and but I just wanted to clarify that. But we appreciate all the callers that have been. If anyone else wants to call,
Yes, sir. Good night.
just jump in and give us a holler. I wanted to make sure that we recognize the women who have been sentinels.
Yes.
It says there have been 630 tomb guards awarded the badge since 1958. And there are hundreds more from the year of 1926, when the Army started guarding the tomb, which was the 3rd U.S. Infantry. It's still considered a combat unit. As an infantry unit, females were not permitted in the ranks for many years. It wasn't until 1994 that females were permitted to volunteer to become a sentinel with 289th Military Police Company that was attached to the old guard. So in 1996, Sergeant Heather Johnson became the first female to earn the Tomb Guard identification badge. She volunteered for duty in June of 1995 and earned her badge in 96. However, Sergeant Johnson was not the only female sentinel. Since then, there have been 2 additional female sentinels awarded the Tomb Guard identification badge. And Sergeant Danielle Wilson earned her badge in 1997. Staff Sergeant Tanya Bell received hers in 98. So this isn't just something now that men just do. And then one of the other questions is, what is the process to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier? The wreath laying ceremonies are conducted thousands of times each year by many organizations. If you are going soon, there is likely no availability for conducting this ceremony, as the slots fill up at least 6 months in advance. So that shows how patriotic this country is, that so many people schedule opportunities to put a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. You have to just think of the process that goes into not just guarding this tomb, but I was looking on here, no matter what the weather's like, the soldiers that actually guard the tomb consider it a privilege in severe bad weather, cold weather, to march between in the steps as they do. I mean, they don't, to be able to suffer the cold and the heat, the storms, the snow, the ice. They consider it an honor to be out there, and so this tomb is protected and guarded, and they do have the right to stop someone from defacing the tomb. They're not just symbolically walking their post. They will guard that tomb from vandalism.
I've watched some videos, and when they're marching, they're pacing back and forth.
Yes,
that it's rare. When I mean it's rare for them to speak to the public.
Yeah.
So they don't speak to the public at all. But I've seen on video that they was recording where the group that was there was getting kind of loud and disrespect the atmosphere, and the guard stopped and said, at all times, you're to maintain an air of reverence when you're in this place. Ask the people to be quiet, and it was like people were shocked, because they don't talk.
Yeah.
But they were like, I'm just making the point what you're saying, that when things get out of order,
right,
they have the authority to get things back in order like they need to. And just speaking, you're talking too loud here. You hold it down.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the discipline. I think of all the things that I witnessed watching today on the news, watching our president and the others recognizing those who have fallen, it really amazes me that there can be a contingency out there that wants to destroy the honor and legacy of those who have given so much. But there is an element out there that I don't know if they're pacifists or if they're naive, but
Deceived.
Deceived.
Does that kind of like rhyme with naive
Yeah.
and deceived?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we
does.
didn't have our armed services, we'd be eating sauerkraut.
That's it.
Or we'd be eating
Chow
chicken
mein.
and rice. Yeah, chicken and rice
That's
right now.
right. I'm serious.
Yeah,
Now,
so
both
exactly
of
what
those
it'd be.
I like.
And
Yeah,
that
well, I do too, but I don't want to be forced to eat it.
Yeah.
but the thing about it is that there's been such an enormous price that's been paid. And if you go to any countries overseas, and I've been overseas, I have seen some countries that when I got back, I was excited to get back here. I was excited to go to McDonald's and get a hamburger.
You know, brother, I went to I haven't been out like you have been and everything, but I went to the south of the border, and we went to a missions trip just across the border in Mexico, and went in there and ministered. And I'm telling you, then we got to go through some of the little villages, and I'm going to tell you what, you'll be glad you came. You'll be glad that you came. If you can imagine, the pallets. You know how we have pallets where you have the little the wooden straps, and you set heavy things on them. They love to get the pallets, and they make walls of their little houses, and their fences are made out of pallets.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff just nailed together. And the telephone poles are tree limbs.
Yes.
I'm not talking about trees. I'm talking about tree limbs that's been dug in the ground, standing up, and they got one line run across it. And, you may have one light,
Yeah.
in
Wow.
that one line that runs down to a village, and they all tap off of that. I'm going, and I can understand why people want to come across the border, but there's a right way to do it.
I'll tell you, when I was a boy, Merle Haggard came out with a song called "If You Don't Love It, Leave It." Let this song that I'm
You don't
singing.
need to go north.
Yeah.
They want to go to Canada, where that's a developed country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't go north. Go south.
That's it.
Because I'm telling you what, when you go across south, they're not going to welcome you in. You're going to go to the Huskow.
But
Is that right?
But I remember-
that's where you're going to wind up at.
I remember when that song came out, and there was a lot of people that didn't like what Merle Haggard was saying. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe a lot of what he was singing is starting to come full circle. And I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention tonight the solemn oath that people make when they raise their right hand and say, "I solemnly swear to defend the Constitution of the United States from all adversaries, all foreign and domestic."
That's going to be some politicians.
And so I want you to realize tonight that your freedom and your liberty was purchased with a price. Elaine, do you have anything else to say before we close out?
I salute all of the Vietnam veterans and all the veterans all over this great United States.
Yes.
And all around the world. If you are a vet, we salute you.
Yes.
We thank you for your work.
And we hope that you've been able to enjoy the program tonight. Pastor, you have anything?
No, I just think it's a great time to be able to honor those men and women who serve for us. I appreciate them very much.
Well,
I don't take their service lightly or what they've done for us.
Yeah. If you can do something to make a veteran's life more comfortable, reach out and touch someone today. And if you go by a VA hospital, shake his hand and say thank you for your service. God bless you again until next Monday night on 2x2. I've enjoyed it. We close out.
Trained to live off nature's land. Trained in combat, hand to hand. Men who fight by night and day. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret.
You gonna sing with it, brother? You know how to sing that song?
Yeah,
Back at home, a young wife waits.
You have to probably get it when it gets to the chorus, you know.
Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has
anytime you see
died
that
for
casket
those
covered with a
oppressed,
flag,
leaving her
it touches your heart.
this last request. Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day. Have him win